Well, I'm fine with apologizing, and if you want me to apologize, I'll do whatever, because I'm excited that we have a football season to really talk about here. Hugh, yesterday we did the pregame show. We walked out. If you had told me 37-17.
Didn't think that was going to happen.
Well, no, I didn't. And if you had said to me that would have been the score, you know what I would have said? I'll be honest. I would have said it would have went the other way. I didn't see this coming at all. I was dead wrong about the game, and I've been dead wrong about the team lately because the Eagles are officially better than I thought they were. I just could speak for myself. I had a really tough time getting past what they were last year, what they were the first month. And I didn't let this season organically grow, and I kind of put dirt on them too early. At the bye, 2-2 after the Tampa Bay game, I thought, this is not a good football team. It just isn't. And since then, Hugh, they're 3-0, and yesterday, for the first time, we could add in the fact they did it against a real quarterback, right?
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
That wasn't Daniel Jones. That wasn't Deshaun Watson. They did it against a real quarterback. Their defense after the first drive was excellent. They forced turnovers. And then, Hugh, the offensive side of the football, and I don't know if this is who you were speaking of, people that are supporting this guy, but I could just say for myself, I've been critical of Jalen Hurts. I thought before yesterday he had played mostly average football this season. Yesterday, he was special. That was the best Jalen Hurts I've seen since 2022. That was the best pocket presence he's had in a long time. He was accurate. He was thrown over the middle. He was decisive. And he outplayed Joe Burrow yesterday, Hugh. That was an incredible Eagles win.
Yes, it was. I don't want to take away anything that Jalen did yesterday, and I'm not going to do that. Why everybody calls him, oh, hell, what he about to say? But it felt to me like there was some fluidity to the offense. Mm-hmm. It felt simple. He felt comfortable. I don't think there was not too many times where Jalen put the ball in harm's way.
Just the once. The once to Kenny Gainwell on the sideline. That's it, really.
Yeah. And it was one of those games where it felt like they kept the game within reason, if that makes sense. It felt like the last couple of weeks, I guess for a lack of a better way of saying it, like they were asking him to do too much, or there was just a lot going on, and it felt like he didn't pull the trigger. He looked comfortable yesterday. 16 for 20, that's not a bad day. If that's the stat line that we need to have, and we ran for 161 yards, if that's the stat line we need to have success moving forward, I'm okay with that. It's gonna grow. I know it's gonna grow, but I felt like there was flow to the game yesterday.
I felt like I was watching the 2022 Eagles yesterday. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like I was watching something special. I felt like I was watching a team that had real potential. Hugh, I've almost kind of chuckled every time over the last month or so you've said Super Bowl, because nothing about this team before yesterday said that to me. Nothing about them said, yeah, they could actually make a run to the Super Bowl. For the first time yesterday, in the second half of that game, you know what I thought? They might make a run. There might be something going on here, because the combination they have right now of the defensive side of the football, which, man, Vic Fangio is making a difference. Those guys can play in the secondary. They're making big plays in the secondary. They finally have a defense for the first time in a couple of years that can make some plays. And then the combination of what they're doing on offense, I felt it yesterday. I'm all the way back in. And it took me a while to get there. I'm all the way back in on this team. 215-592-9494. That's how you hop aboard here. Let's hear from Jalen Hurts yesterday, talking about his game, his performance, and, of course, beating Joe Burrow after everyone, including myself last week, was like, yeah, he's not in Joe Burrow's class.
But is there any satisfaction? Joe Burrow is considered one of the best quarterbacks, always in that conversation. You go out there and outplay him as a quarterback?
That's the league. I have standards for myself as well.
Well, whatever his standards are, Huey hit him yesterday. You said 16 to 20. I'll take that day from Jalen Hurts any day of the week. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, man, I like it. It's so much so that for me, it was never. I was never wavering off of the fact that where I wanted this team to go. So much so, I sent the song yesterday to Kyle, because this is going to be my theme song moving forward.
This is it?
Yes. Eastbound and down, baby. Well, it's really southbound and down for us.
To New Orleans.
Yeah. Me and Ike, I know he's probably listening. Don't get funny acting now. I'm just saying. we're going. We're on this trip.
Well,
it's going to happen.
I'm telling you, for the first time yesterday, I said maybe Hugh's not totally crazy. I mean, he's crazy, but
let's relax.
But maybe,
Wait a minute.
Maybe he's not totally just nuts. Like maybe there's something going on here. Look, Jalen was incredible yesterday. The defense finally made they took the ball away. They didn't just make plays after the first drive yesterday. Because I'll admit that first drive, I was like, oh boy, it's going to be a long day. Burrow's just moving down the field, 10-minute drive. Bengals
It was
score.
bad. That first drive. But I will say this. That first drive was their first 15. They scripted some hell of a plays. Mm-hmm. You know, we talk about T. Higgins being out yesterday. We thought it was going to be a little bit of easier day. Joe Burrow made it interesting.
Sure he did. It was a great play.
That's what made this game so good for this defense. To hold them to 17 points, you know, to hold them to under 100 yards rushing. This is old school football when I look at it. Whew. That's what you want. When you're a team, a defense that's trying to find their identity, there are certain goals. We used to have a hit chart. And one of the things on the hit chart, were two of them for this matter, was hold a team to under 100 yards, which the Eagles did, and hold them to 17 points or less, which they did. That's a good place to be. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard Kobe Dean allude to something like that. Because we came into this game thinking with this Cincinnati's offense that they were going to score a lot more points.
And it looked like that the first drive.
Yes, it did.
How about this by the Eagles defense? So the Bengals opening drive, 10 minutes, 4 seconds. They scored, obviously, the touchdown, right? 17 plays, 70 yards. They scored the touchdown. The rest of the game, from then on, they had 8 drives. They scored 10 points. And the defense was excellent after the first drive of the game, including some game-changing plays later in the game. And then the credit's also got to go to the head coach. I mean, we're 3-0 in the Sirianni head-shaved, head-buzzed, we'll get to that later, era. 3-0. 3 weeks ago, I sat here and I said, this coach is losing it. A lot of people thought he was losing it. Well, you know what he found? He found the football team, and they've responded to him. Let's hear from Sirianni after the game, maybe about the team finally finding their identity. What is it? It's physicality.
Saw more under center for the second straight week, a little more play action. Was that all by design?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
And is that more you trying to find the identity of this offense, or do you think that
I think the identity of this football team is physical, and that's what we're going to try to play by each week is physical. Now that doesn't, when you say physical, that doesn't mean you have to run it every time. You run it, you pass it. You can be physical in both aspects. On the long touchdown pass to Devontae, Jack Stoll was physical on that block on the perimeter. Wait till you see that one again, where you're watching Jack Stoll block the perimeter and giving Jalen enough time to make a perfect throw and Smitty to make a big time catch. And so, physical identity gets overblown. I really believe that. Like, what's the identity? What's the identity? I tell you, I've told you guys this a bunch. Like, our identity is play with great detail. Our identity is to play physical with toughness, and our identity is play together. And everything else changes week to week. So that's going to change each and every week.
Here's the identity to me. That right now they're a team that has a good defense, that is attacking, has really good play in the secondary, especially those corners.
Defense on the rise.
A defense on the rise. And it's an offense that is coming together, most especially now because the quarterback looks comfortable. 215-592-9494. Sometimes it takes you a while to see it, and then you see it and you say, oh, now I see it. I see it now. I'm all the way back in. Hugh, you all the way back in?
I never left, Joe.
Well, I'm with you now. I'm all the way back in. Kyle Quinn, are you all the way back in on the 2024 Eagles?
Diving in head first, baby.
Oh, here we go.
We got a real season on our hands. That was a statement win. Yep. It was. I don't care what the Bengals' record is. They have a real legitimate quarterback there, and that's a tough place to play. I mean, it just is. It was a tough spot for the Eagles, and they went in and showed that, they're actually a good football team. There was a good football team in there this entire time. The defense, they actually look like a legitimate NFL defense right now, top 10 defense, the way they're playing right now. And to do that against Joe Burrow, super impressive. Looks like they really rallied around Nick Sirianni after all the crap we gave him about shaving his head, man. This team has responded to his ways. And then, I mean, what can you say about Jalen Hurts? To go in there in that spot on the road. And let's be real about what that was. He outplayed Joe Burrow.
He definitely did.
We've talked about Jalen Hurts just doing enough to not lose the team the game. Jalen Hurts was a reason they won. He was a weapon in that game. So that was awesome to see. It really looks like everything's starting to come together in all ways.
You know what? I just had an epiphany. It took Coach Sirianni to go crazy for this team to get on the right track. And I mean, hey, if it works, it works.
You
talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And how this could be the moment where this team springboard itself into being what it could potentially be. I mean, shout out to Coach Sirianni for having the wherewithal to lose his mind to go in and get this team in the right direction. Hey, he called a hell of a game yesterday, too.
His job is not to motivate us. It's to motivate them.
Yeah,
Then we'll all be on board. He's done that. And as far as Jalen Hurts goes, over the last year plus, I feel like we vacillated between he didn't play very well or he played okay. Yesterday, for the first time since 2022, I felt like I was watching special. That was a special Jalen Hurts game. 3 touchdowns on the ground, the bomb to Devontae Smith, poise in the pocket. One mistake with the ball in the flat to Kenny Gainwell. But after that, 13 of 13, 200 yards, a 144.4 passer rating. Jalen was the biggest reason they won. 215-592-9494. That's how you hop aboard. Are you all the way back in? We've got a 5-2 football team.
5-2.
They're favored by about a touchdown this weekend against Doug and company. This could be a 6-2 team heading to Dallas. Let's talk about it. 215-592-9494. It's the Midday Show. Sports Radio 94 WIP.